All right, we are going to do now the past papers of the partition of Bengal. Since we have completed the topic, so it's time to do the past papers. Right, page 4, book 2. A very basic question. What was Swadeshi movement? Swadeshi movement क्या थी? We have studied many times. Swadeshi movement को start किया था Hindus ने. लेकिन अपने पास this movement was started by Hindus in 1905. ये इनका रिएक्शन था. It was a reaction. It was a reaction of Hindus. कैसा रिएक्शन था? नेगेटिव रिएक्शन था. It was a negative reaction. It was a negative reaction. बहुत ही नेगेटिव रिएक्शन था. मूवमेंट में क्या करा था? ब्रिटिश गुड सर्विस स्कूल कॉलेज सबको बाइकआउट. इन दिस मूवमेंट British goods, comma, services, comma, school and colleges were boycotted. British goods, comma, services, comma, schools and colleges were boycotted. ये ब्रिटिश को क्या कर रहे थे? इकोनॉमिकली वो कर रहे थे, प्रेशराइज कर रहे थे, लॉस दे रहे थे. लेकिन द पर्पस was to give economic damage. इकोनॉमिक का मतलब क्या होगा? इकोनॉमिक का मतलब होगा फाइनेंशियल डैमेज. द पर्पस वाज टू गिव इकोनॉमिक डैमेज. द पर्पस वाज टू गिव इकोनॉमिक डैमेज. द पर्पस वाज टू गिव इकोनॉमिक डैमेज. फुल स्टॉप. नेक्स्ट आ जाए 7 मार्क का क्वेश्चन. 7 मार्क का क्वेश्चन आपको 7 मिनट्स में लिखना होता है. एक्सप्लेन व्हाई दी ब्रिटिश पार्टीशन बंगाल इन 1905. ब्रिटिश ने पार्टीशन ऑफ बंगाल क्यों किया था? हमने 5 रीजन पढ़े, आपको 3 रीजन लिखने हैं. वी आर स्टार्टिंग द आंसर. राइट, चलें. ब्रिटिश पार्टीशन बंगाल. ब्रिटिश पार्टीशन बंगाल in 1905. British partitioned Bengal in 1905 due to many reasons. Due to many reasons. Introduction के marks होते नहीं है, but introduction is always a nice gesture. Introduction is always what? Introduction is always a nice gesture. Paragraph change. First of all, Bengal was a very large province. First of all, Bengal was a very large province. कितना large था? 189,000 square miles. It was 189,000 square miles large. It was 189,000 square miles large. It was 189,000 square miles large. Food shortage थी, water shortage थी. लेकिन अपने पास there were food shortages as well as water. Full stop. एडमिनिस्ट्रेशन इश्यूज हो रहे थे. कौन से इश्यूज हो रहे थे? एडमिनिस्ट्रेशन. लिखे अपने पास there were many administration issues There were many administration issues. Full stop. It was difficult for one governor to control it. It was difficult for one it was difficult for one governor to control it. Full stop. Law and order. Law and order. I have to change the page. Law and order. Changing the page. Law and order situation was getting worse. Law and order situation was getting worse, which is why Bengal was divided. 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 Full stop. लेकिन secondly, in Bengal, Hindus and Muslims were living together. Secondly, in Bengal, Hindus and Muslims were living together. Hindus and Muslims were living together. Full stop. They had they had they had different culture, comma, language, and religion. They had different culture, comma, language, and religion. They had different culture, comma, language, and religion. Full stop. They used to fight with each other. They used to fight with each other. Full stop. So to control the situation. So to control the situation, Bengal was divided. 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 Full stop. दो reason हो गए. Now we are going towards the third reason. लेकिन thirdly, British wanted to improve their relation Thirdly, British wanted to improve their relation with the Muslims. In order to do so, they divided Bengal and gave East Bengal to Muslims so that they can follow their culture, comma, language, and religion. So that they can follow their culture, comma, language, and religion. So that they can follow their culture, comma, language, and religion. That is why Bengal was divided. That is why Bengal was divided. Full stop. So it's a 7 mark question, and we wrote 3 reasons. And is everyone with us? We don't write evaluation in 7 marks. Evaluation is only written in 14 marks. Let's proceed, guys. Next सवाल पे आ जाएं. Why did the British reverse the partition of Bengal? Why did the British reverse the partition of Bengal? आज की क्लास में पढ़ा था हमने, ये भी 7 मार्क का है. Let's do that as well. ब्रिटिश ने पार्टीशन ऑफ बंगाल को रिवर्सल क्यों करा था? तो पार्टीशन ऑफ बंगाल का रिवर्सल हुआ था कौन सी ईयर में? 1911 में हुआ था. आज ये प्लीज. लेट्स स्टार्ट. इंट्रोडक्शन से स्टार्ट करते हैं. पार्टीशन of Bengal was reversed in 1911 due to many reasons. Due to many reasons. Partition of Bengal was reversed in 1911 due to many reasons. तो पार्टीशन ऑफ बंगाल को रिवर्स करा था 1911 में ड्यू टू व्हाट? ड्यू टू मेनी रीजंस. फुल स्टॉप. 7 मार्क के सवाल के लिए 3 रीजन लिखना है और हमारे पास भी 3 रीजन ही है, राइट? आज लाइक फर्स्ट ऑफ ऑल द Hindus objection to partition was so great. The Hindus' objection to partition was so great that they started to boycott their products. That they started to boycott their products. Full stop. That they started to boycott their products. Full stop. They started a movement which was known as swadeshi movement. They started a movement which was known as swadeshi movement. In this movement, British goods, comma, services, and colleges were boycotted. In this movement, British goods, comma, services, comma, colleges were boycotted. Full stop. The purpose was to give economic damage. The purpose was to give economic damage. Local clothes were being used. Full stop. So, in the end, the British decided to reverse the partition. So, in the end, the British decided to reverse the partition. So, in the end, the British decided to reverse the partition. So, in the end, the British decided to reverse the partition. I will change the page. Come on, hurry up. 1 minute. On the count of 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. Let's move. Again. Secondly, let's start. Secondly, Congress started holding meetings. They started protest and rallies. They started protest and rallies. Full stop. The objective was to pressurize British. The objective was to pressurize British. The objective was to pressurize British. Full stop. लिखे अपने पास. They thought British has used their divide and rule policy. They thought British has used their divide and rule policy. Full stop. Terrorist activities were started. Terrorist activities were started. Full stop. Calcutta was closed for few days, which is why partition was reversed. Which is why partition was reversed. Which is why partition was reversed. Full stop. Which is why partition was reversed. Full stop. Like thirdly, Hindus decided to kill the future viceroy, Lord Minto. Full stop. They were so angry on partition. They were so angry on the partition, full stop. They thought that it will be easy for Lord Minto to reverse the partition if they threat him, full stop. As a result, in 1911, Bengal partition was reversed. As a result, in 1911, Bengal partition was reversed. Kindly copy.